Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Ladies and gentlemen, on the couch with us.
How did this happen?
This is maybe the biggest guest we've ever had.
I think so.
Ben Franklin, everybody.
Yes.
Hello, yes,
How
it
you
is
doing?
I.
Ben Franklin.
Founding father, author, inventor, Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin
Okay,
Franklin.
No
man.
middle initial.
Can we call you, would you prefer Ben or Benjamin? Is Benjamin, what would you prefer?
Whatever you're more
Mr.
comfortable with.
I would
Daniel.
actually, Mr. Franklin, I feel like sounds...
I don't know. I like a Benny.
Benny? All right.
Don't be
Let's not get
ludicrous,
crazy.
Tom.
Let's not get crazy. We just got him here. I don't even know where he came from. Did you set this up?
So, Ben Franklin.
He did, but apparently he also booked a bagel guy at the same time.
Yeah, our biggest client. One of our biggest new clients.
You might know I invented the bagel.
Yeah. By the way, Ben.
In the Revolutionary War, we were out of wheels,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
invented the bagel, and they could eat it afterwards.
I believe that was when you were in Poland, right? Because it's I believe it started in Poland in the 1800s.
I believe I famously have never been to Poland, Daniel.
we got to get you out the back door, Ben, before our biggest sponsor comes in.
You don't want
I
the
don't
biggest new sponsor to walk in and see that Tom just lets crazy comedians wander through our back room.
They're running some shim operations.
This
Like, what
is
the hell?
so 2011. It hurts. This is back in the old, back in my house. Where
hell's
did
got-
you come from? Okay, never mind. All right, he's here.
I believe you well know, Daniel. I invented a potion of eternal youth in the 1800s.
The Kelsey brothers don't do this.
No, take that, Kelsey's. You ain't got nothing. All right.
So, Ben.
Thomas, I understand your education's lacking. You might know me as the inventor of the lightning rod.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah.
Thomas, have you ever been struck by lightning?
I have not. Ben.
You're welcome.
That's because of the lightning rod. I did pull a gigantic grounding rod out from my house and I just
Are you
threw it in
supposed
the
to leave
garbage.
that in?
Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, your whole family's going to die? I'm
Yeah.
here to report. It hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still fine.
You're fine.
Thomas, that was probably enough copper for 5 or 10 pennies.
So Ben, now I know that
I can't. That wig is so awesome, dude. If you have never
What
watched our
wig?
podcast, because now you don't listen to podcasts, you watch podcasts. If you've never watched our podcast, you need to go and subscribe at Tom and Dan Live to YouTube or Twitch so you can see. I'm almost 50 years old, and this is my career. This is okay. Anyway, we're doing it.
Perhaps I need new bifocals. I couldn't even tell Tom was wearing a wig.
So, Ben, tell us about some other things.
Yeah, what's
that
been going on?
Like, I know that there's been some indiscretions.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't
there some syphilis?
Yeah. But I think, you know,
HPV or something?
to give Ben some credit, I think everybody back then had syphilis.
You know,
It's an old disease.
I honestly, now if you really think about it, I would say that Ben Franklin was the precursor to the modern day politician because most of them needed that drive to get things done.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Most of your top tier politicians are horny animals because they're like, you were doing a lot of stuff. You were inventing a lot of stuff. You were worried about the country. You were worried about our bird, right?
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
you?
I am one of the few founding fathers who on record has a French prostitute budget.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
busy CEOs.
Yeah.
They, they're.
You need to blow off some steam.
Yeah. It's like the Clinton. You look, the
Exactly
Dave Chappelle joke. You look out your office. You're like, I'm busy. And you're like, you.
I mean, the Clinton thing was absolutely what I was thinking.
And I fully admit to all of my bastard sons, Biden.
Wow. I like that you made it political. Which I didn't think he would do. Normally he doesn't do that. I like that.
Leave Biden alone. He's out of it now. It's a letter the old man.
What's less
live
than a
in
lame
peace.
duck, right? Like, what is that? I don't even know what that is.
It's funny how no one, everybody's like, oh, Biden's done.
Oh, people forgot.
They're like, quit making fun of this old man.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think Maisie knows he was the president. Like, I'm like, who's the president now? She's like, I don't know. I don't think anybody's there. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
It's like I always say, Tom, the cat in gloves catches no mice.
Oh, okay. I have no idea what that
Have you ever tried to put gloves on a cat, Ben? It is very difficult.
I invented cat gloves.
They're jumping around crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They're falling over.
Yeah, there was a lady. Oh, no, I'll tell that story later when Ben's not here. Sorry.
So, Ben, I'm curious tell me about the kite, because from what I know.
You see, Tom, it's a piece of paper suspended between the structure of sticks, and when the wind blows against it.
You know what's funny? It's almost like Ross was here because you would ask a question that dumb and he would do that, right?
Yeah.
If Ross were here and you say, hey, Ross, what's a kite? He would
It's almost like Ben is wired a certain way.
It's like I always say, the hasty bitch brings forth blind puppies.
All right. Okay. So
That's actually pretty good. I like that
one.
one.
So what is that even supposed to mean? Like the hasty dog that is like just.
It means
A lady dog. That is what that word
impatient
means in my time.
The impatient lady will make her kids blind.
But in what way? Because they're incest, or
Well-
what? Why? Like they didn't do their due diligence.
I don't
with
know.
picking the right. Anyway, so
I can't explain everything to you, Tom, but from now on, when you see a blind puppy, you'll know why.
Yeah, okay. Hasty bitch.
So the kite. I always wondered
The
why.
trick is the string, Tom. You have to.
No, I know how
You
kite
have to have
works,
a
man.
string, or else it just flies away.
No, everybody.
At some point, they must have thought that was magic, though, right? The fact that the kite was flying in the air, and Ben's holding it, and that's how he was impressing the prostitutes.
Well, everybody always
"Look at this."
gave you so much credit for flying a kite into a lightning
I don't think
storm.
that really. I don't think anything ever. Like I'm at a time now between your grandpa's stories, your dad's stories, my grandpa's stories, my dad's stories,
Yeah.
and now Ben Franklin on our couch, where I don't honestly believe anything that anybody's ever
Well,
told me.
I just always thought, even as a kid, I'm like, well, people had to have seen lightning strike the ground. That's been going on since the atmosphere
yeah, but
existed, right?
they didn't know that
Correct.
it was electricity. They didn't have. I don't think they had that concept.
Well, they
right?
saw trees get struck by lightning. They started forest fires. Like they saw like the after effects. Like, oh, this tree got
They
struck.
thought that was God's
Correct. God's wrath is what it was
Yeah.
chalked up to.
But then-
God's wrath, God's lighter.
And the thunder was the devil bowling.
But then everyone's like, oh, Ben
when the
Franklin.
sun shines out when it's raining, devil's beating his wife. Remember that
Correct.
one?
Yeah,
Correct.
But flew a kite into a lightning storm, and I was like, well, everybody would have probably had the same thought as Ben, like, well, lightning's gonna strike that thing, then we'll know what's going on.
But I
And-
guess they didn't know what lightning was, so the kite was instrumental
To
in
the
that.
contrary, Tom, previous to my experiments, lightning was known to strike willy-nilly, just anywhere about, and you couldn't predict where it would strike. What I did was show that you could direct the flow of lightning into a specific spot, and it wasn't so much the kite itself. Any fool can fly a kite in a thunderstorm, Tom. It was the tying of a key to that kite that was,
I
that was
wonder
the
how hard.
key to
Okay.
the whole experiment.
Can I pause for a second? I wonder how hard this is for him to give real information to us in a character form. You know what I mean? Like he's like, these guys are so dumb. I have to pretend to be.
No, if we're paused, if we're fully paused,
we are fully
give me a hole that I can jump in. That's the best.
All
Yeah.
right, that's
Leave
fair.
the key out, and then I got something to say.
Okay,
All right,
great.
time out.
All right, good to know.
Well,
Good. Unpause.
Well, back to the key.
Yes, Tom. It was to my outhouse. That's not often recorded. I had a locked outhouse.
Oh, breaking news.
Yes.
Did you know that? The key to his outhouse. You melt that.
Too many apprentices about. I couldn't have them using all my corn cobs.
Well, I always wondered, Ben, though, if you knew the lightning was going to come down the string,
Correct.
why didn't you tie it to something else? Why are you holding on to it?
Did he hold it? I don't even.
I did tie it to a stick, Tom. I'm not a fool.
Okay.
It was the guy who came along and painted that painting in your history book in South Florida.
I don't think that was ever
quite
real.
the idiot. Not
Oh,
I.
okay, yeah.
Not I, Tom.
Every cartoon always has a Ben Franklin,
Yes, that's
a
right.
guy with a wig holding a kite.
Yes,
He's
yeah.
being struck by lightning, and he's like, oh, and he's getting shocked.
And it turns out I, Ben Franklin, am smarter than the average cartoonist.
Okay. I thought you were holding the kite, being electric, and then I see your bones.
Yeah.
And I will admit it is that early on I did put out some information. I put out some pictures of my own showing me holding the kite. So if someone tried to recreate my key experiment, they would fail, and I would retain my grip on electricity.
All right. So, and then from that, Ben, you were able then to create the light bulb and
The chat room saying
I
that
don't
they
know.
think they thought you made your stepson that you didn't really like fly the kite.
Oh, I made him tie it to the stick. He got it up into the clouds for me. Ben Franklin wasn't going to fly that thing up there.
Yeah, that
It wasn't like we flew a kite for a week scenario waiting for a thunderstorm.
I mean-
I made the redheaded stepchild go out and fly the kite into the clouds, tie it to the stick while I observed from what I call the blast bunker.
Okay, who would guess that the chat room would love to participate? They have questions for
Okay.
Benjamin, who's here. This
Well, why don't you let them speak, Tom or Dan? For as I always say, 100 thieves cannot strip one man naked, especially if his skin's off.
that's an aggressive one, Ben. Wow, that's like you steal something
Hold
from
on.
Ben Franklin. He's gonna skin you alive. Apparently, good God.
100 thieves can't strip you naked if you have no skin. What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know. Question from the chat room. This is from Go Surfing Instead. Side story, Mr. Franklin. I saw the rank coward, a bald eagle, earlier today, stealing a mullet from an osprey. As I recall, you'd advocated for the turkey to be our national anthem.
I wanted the turkey, a proud, noble bird, to be our national bird.
Why did we not end up with the turkey then?
The eagle, is, as far as I was concerned, it was a carrion grazer. They feed on dead meat, and the turkey, proud and noble. You ever tried to hunt a turkey?
I've not.
I have not.
It is hard as hell.
No, really.
This is your musket ball must hit them exactly in the head, or else their voluminous feathers will deflect almost any shot.
We're dipping into Ram Davesy misinformation territory now. I like it. I like it.
Also, eagle delicious. It should have been our Thanksgiving bird. I was recommending a full switcheroo. That was my thing. I wanted to eat eagles.
Oh,
yeah, some
okay,
would say that you invented even the term switcheroo.
Correct.
Yeah, that was a bit original.
Well, if you think about
it's in the Constitution. I snuck it in there.
We do eat the turkey for Christmas and for Thanksgiving. That's American.
Boston Market, while they were still open, they were just killing them, man. Putting it out there, carving them up.
Yeah. And then I remember when I was in Alaska, it's lousy with bald eagles, and they're like pigeons of Alaska. They're flying around. People are like,
get out of here. Get out of here, America.
Shooing them away like pigeons. Anyway, so what else did you invent?
I have another question from the chat. I mean, they are just the questions coming in. I mean, not very often.
Let the chat room
Not very often do you get to tune in to your local podcast that you want to see, and there is a historical ghost sitting on the couch. This one's from our friend EJ. He says, "How does Franklin feel about Philadelphia now? It's such a dirty city, and all the sports teams there are kind of stinky."
Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. I will always love and appreciate it. It's always my city, and I love their proud sports tradition of throwing batteries at opposing teams, which, of course, is an homage to my invention of electricity.
All right. Wow.
Boom. Mind blown.
They're celebrating Ben Franklin.
Pause. Good prov. Unpause.
As they hit some
it's usually a grandma, because your throw isn't that good. You end up hitting a grandma who's there. She doesn't barely know she's there, and it hits a D battery right in the face, knocks her teeth out. They give her a couple of. They give her some gear from the game.
Now, I don't. Was it you that invented the battery, Ben, or?
Well, no. The battery is when people throw batteries. He was saying you didn't even understand.
No, me inventing electricity to begin with.
Yeah. But someone else invented the battery.
Yeah,
right. It was way down
it's
the
like
line.
saying, Ben Franklin, did you write the works of Shakespeare? No, I invented the damn alphabet, Tom.
Wow. Well, I guess technically, electricity was God's invention.
That's
right?
true. That's what my mom
You want to
said.
go back further, far enough.
That's what my mom said. And my mom also said, "God don't make no junk."
But it took Ben Franklin.
lie.
It took Ben Franklin to take God's wrath and harness it to man's work.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the whores for a little bit. You were a man of many lovers. And
I like that.
Yeah. Why did it seem that you, out of most politicians of your day, seem to have an insatiable appetite for sex?
Well, Daniel, it's like I always say, he that never eats too much will never be lazy.
That makes so much sense.
I
also am known to say, dally not with other folks' women or money. So,
Well, people do that one all the time, right? Like, that's a big one.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like, just to, to not pile on Ben, I feel like a lot of people back in the day had extramarital affairs and different women. I don't know how tight marriages were, especially when rich and successful men.
I would imagine that, rich and successful men kind of like, I'm going to do whatever I want. And you just,
I'm in a class that lets me.
Because I don't even feel like the woman you were dating at the time and or married to would have the power to even speak up if you cheated on her, right? I mean, like...
not to defend myself too much, but imagine a scenario where you are there in Philadelphia with your beautiful, lovely wife, but then you're called away on business to France. And the only way to get there is on a boat powered by God's breath, Tom.
How long does it take, Ben?
Approximately 1 out of those 6 boats just sinks in the ocean, is never seen again. Presumably a kraken or some such has gotten it. And then the way there is one way, and then the way back is another. I may never see my wife again. Am I not to dally with French prostitutes?
That's true.
All right,
I've always, right. Ben, not to bring this into the future, but I have always thought about, like, if I'm in some scenario, plane, elevator, boat going down, and somebody wants to do it with me, man or woman, I'm Ben Franklin. I'm Franklin for life.
It is as I say, one today is worth two tomorrow.
I like that one.
Says that one. Hold on. He says if you can get one, you can get two. And if you can get two, you can get four.
Yeah. And then I also, I heard you rap about this at the Dr. Phillips, with the old rapping play.
What do you think about the? Well, that was. I always thought that was a depiction.
Was
of
that
you.
my tour with Cypress Hill?
It was the thing. It was popular. Anyway, and they had your wife up there. She's rapping mad.
Oh, she's mad rapping.
Yeah. And then I was like, why even? Just let Ben do.
It is as I say always. A man without a wife is but half a man.
Okay.
Wow. But he's a happy half. Oh man, he's happy.
Yeah.
He's the happiest.
Ask yourself which half. Is it from the waist down? Perhaps that's to your benefit.
Although, if you
Hamilton,
if you can get everything that a wife provides and everything else you want too, with no repercussion, that is the best thing.
It is the best
because
thing.
you have a wife that just takes care of you at home, but then you don't have to be faithful. You just do whatever
Well,
you want as well.
I have been striving to invent the sex robot since 1752, Tom.
I have always thought that I don't think wives want a whore.
They don't want it, but I'm just saying there was a
wives,
time.
No, wives don't want to whore.
No,
meaning. So just stay in your lanes and we're fine.
No, but I'm saying you have the wife, but then you just do whatever you want to. So so then that's the best of both worlds.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. Then I think that's what Ben Franklin had. You have the French ladies, the wife.
How did you perish, Ben? If you don't mind me asking.
I am right here, right now.
Oh, okay. We're not going that direction. Okay.
At some point,
should have set out the guidelines ahead of time.
At some point in the future, I may choose to stop taking my magical potion or my scientific potion that keeps me alive.
Yes.
But it will be at my choosing and not God's. That is something I swear to.
When is the last time you saw Bill and Ted?
I believe I went to Halloween Horror Nights about 10 years ago, but oh boy, I was on a lot of acid, so I don't recall if we saw the show or not.
Everybody at Halloween Horror Nights is on drugs.
And I think
as I always say, the only way to go to Halloween Horror Nights is on drugs.
That's in the book.
I think what got Ben was an STD, and then when you die from those, it's bad.
Yeah. Oh man, it feels
they're all curable now, but back then,
no.
The way
how did you let this get so bad?
And then the one that I think the syphilis gets into your brain.
Yeah.
And then you start going.
I think
nuts.
that's what's wrong with me. I think that's what's going on with
Thomas,
me.
name how one other founding father died, and we'll accept your wisdom on how I passed.
That's true. It is the only founding father that we ever think about, and how he died is Benjamin Franklin.
The fact that Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on the 4th of July, the same 4th of July, that also comes up.
Well, I think they all died of easily curable diseases now. I know that.
Yeah.
So it's just like some sort of like.
A lot of the signers of the Constitution died of gout, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. The King's disease, right?
Gout or like even the hemorrhoids. It's like, it's like you die of that eventually. It's bad.
As I always say, a full belly makes a dull brain. The muses starve in a cook's shop.
All right.
Right.
So Ben, is there anything words of wisdom you want to leave us with?
Everything
today?
he's been giving us is gold. What are you talking about?
I just want people to follow my OnlyFans. I guess that's it.
You got OnlyFans now.
Holy smokes, Ben.
I had a lot of stuff to get into, but you double booked. So
sorry, Ben.
Let's get your real guests
I
in
took
here.
my son to the doctor today, which is traumatic, by the way. We had to give him the nose camera thing, and I wanted to scream, "Stop doing this!
Stop the nose camera,
oh, boy, please!" But
It's as I always
you want
say.
a fun fact? They can't fit a camera in my nose.
It's as I always say. You can tell you've really rattled a man when he starts shouting about his sick kid.
I didn't want the doctor to be like, "Sir, calm down. Pull yourself together. Like,
Stop crying, sir.
Yeah.
The
Like,
procedure's
you
done.
have to sit there. So Ben, thanks for coming by. We'd
We
love to have
appreciate
you
so
again.
much. Yeah.
Any last words?
I'll just remind you of these words I always say. Think of 3 things: whence you came, where you are going, and to whom you must account. Ben Franklin out.
All right, okay.
Oh, there you go. And he's poof, and he's gone. Wow, look at that. He's out of here. Magic potion gone.
Old-timey quotes.
Is my single favorite thing we do now is when we have special guests just appear out of the bathroom. It's my favorite thing.
No, I know.
We've only had
It shocks-
Sal Tampano on one time, but he's still my favorite.
Yeah. It shocks me into
I know it does.
like
Yeah.
like I
It wakes you up.
it's
It's like a cold plunge. I'm like, ah!
It's like someone pushed me out on stage and the camera or the curtains open and
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people and I'm like, oh,
And they're like, be funny.
yeah. That's what I feel like now. Usually it's just
Oh,
relaxed.
yeah. Chat room loves Ben.
All right.
Yeah, you're gonna save your wig, buddy. Save that wig. Get some mileage out of that one.
All right.
That's a goodie.
So let's take a break.
Yes.
We'll be back right after this.
Oh,
Okay,
so
go.
we're still on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, that was really funny, dude.
That was funny.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
How you doing?
Can we do a picture real quick before I take this?
Yo, absolutely. We have to. Where's that going, TC? T, where are we putting that one? Sorry.
Help yourself to anything you want to drink, water. We have anything from the fridge. Thank you. That is Monday 3.
Monday.
Thank you, Ross.
Yeah, for sure.
That was really funny.
Was super good.
We could definitely got to do that, and then just all the other stuff you had. We'll just do it again next couple weeks. But that's super funny. It does feel like you're immediately forced to improv.
I think that's why I like it. It's that addiction I had at Orlando City matches where I wipe my brain clean and then I have to walk out there and I'm forced to perform. And there is a weird. I used to tell him about
it's
like
a good improv,
it's a dysfunction that I have where I'm like I like that. Like I like the idea of trying to fix that.
Yeah,
like it's like
And
because
then-
there's nothing there.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
then
floor.
we're juggling, and
Yeah.
then I'm going to you, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm
And
like,
I'm
what if
trying
he
to
has
think
nothing
of
to
things.
say?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you're good, man. You're really
Very
good
fun,
at
man.
it. It is.
You said Monday 3 or Monday 1?
Monday 3.
Monday 3.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. 21, 24, 20. Okay. Awesome. And we need to get a photo real fast.
Yeah.
He goes his hair. And we'll set this up for everybody. You want a selfie it or?
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
These glasses aren't real, I can't see.
That's gonna look like a crazy photo. What's going on, y'all?
Hey, how are you?
Daniel, pleasure.
I had no idea you guys were right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is on the tiniest little. It used to be
Oh,
a
my
little insurance office type of deal, and my neighbors are realtors, and we were looking for a spot. What, like 8 years ago? Yeah, and they were like, "I think we have the perfect spot for you." So, yeah. Yeah. Well, we were gonna put a sign and do all of that, but then Bolton wanted like, what was it, $850? Yeah, it was just a sign, like a little hangable thing.
Yeah, it's better for us.
We're a small business. This is our buddy Ross, a local comedian, actor, writer. You know,
We don't
he was just dressed as Ben Franklin. Yeah. Things go a little wild here. So.
Now I can see you. Hi.
Yeah, he did a little. We did a little improv thing, so you'll see a little sweat on my brow. That's because we had to do a little work. So, but shall we? Come on in, y'all. Ross, love you, buddy. Good job today, dude.
Thank you.
All right.
You can come sit in here if you want to. I'll move this.
We can put you right
We got
here.
here.
Sure. Here's some headphones for you. Oh, I love your shoes.
Thank you.
And then
The Bagel Dunks, they're super fun.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
They're,
awesome.
they're called Sesame Dunks. They're like specifically made
4 bagels.
as they were gosh, I can't remember what year it was, but like there was a big Montreal style bagel event. It's like so there's
Okay.
like 2 different style bagels, New York style, Montreal style, and the Nike made these shoes, and like you can't get them. They're like rare. You got to buy them on
That's awesome.
StockX now, and yeah.
That is awesome, and they're specifically
They're
bagel
there's
dunks.
sesame seeds on there.
That's awesome.
I've only
That's
bought
funny.
one thing on StockX.
Me
I
too.
bought a pair of Justin Bieber Crocs.
No way.
Oh,
The
yeah.
bright yellow Justin Bieber
Yeah, yeah,
Crocs. Because me and my daughter thought they were hilarious. And
That's awesome.
What year did you go to UCF?
I was at UCF from 95 to 99.
Okay, no, okay, cool.
Yep.
I think that's when I should
started
have
in
graduated.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I went back like 15 years later and finally finished,
Got it,
you know.
yeah.
But it was weird because I dropped out at 9. I would have been dropping out at 96. Yeah, I would have been
Okay.
there
Same time.
the same time.
Yeah, I started 2000 to 2006.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
We are on
right
Twitch and
after them.
YouTube right now. I
Very
like
cool.
to tell everybody that.
And this will air for our segment called Weird Job Wednesday, which will air next week. This is live though now, so it's going out on Twitch and YouTube. So it'll be live, and then we'll take a segment from this for social media next week.
Yeah.
But this will be airing on the radio and for podcast next Wednesday.
Very cool.
I'll let you know all the stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
And-
that looks great.
And I'll send you all the social and stuff for it. But
And anything you need, like hard, like a copy, MP3, wave, whatever. I mean, we can give you any of that. Any deliverables we've ever done, you can have anything we got. So.
and your last name is pronounced Pereira?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Van,
Let's do it.
would you? Is this going to be Wednesday 1?
Yeah, it'll be Wednesday 1. It'll be for a weird job.
All right. Hold on, let me delete that guy. All right, man. Here we go. Can you hear? Okay, is that okay?
I can hear fine.
All right. Can you hear
Perfect.
yourself at all?
I can, which
All
is
right.
very strange.
Fantastic. I know it is a little weird.
That's okay though.
If you're
I
not
get
used to it, it will. But it's funny because it will help. And if I don't have it, and see, Tom's the real weird because you have to go one ear, right?
Yeah.
He has to because he used to answer phones at the station.
At when I was a radio intern,
Yeah.
when I started 20 years ago.
You do that for 20 years and then you can't not do it.
Oh yeah, 1 year, and then
It's
basically
like
I
an
got
equilibrium thing.
Oh, I believe
yeah,
it.
yeah. After 1 year of only wearing one,
Yeah.
and then that's 19 other years.
I begged him
of
to
never
do it. But please put on the other side. Can't do it. He
Yeah,
can't do
yeah.
it.
It starts throwing you off when you're hearing your own voice for
Yeah.
2 years. Anyway.
All right, man. Here we
amazing.
go. In 3, 2.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Let's get right into it.
You want to get right into
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
here we go,
Let's
buddy.
do it.
Let's play the song. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dad really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Weird Job Wednesday is brought to you by Jeff's Bagel Run.
Hey, hold on.
And,
that deserves a blast. There we go.
Coincidentally, we have the founder
Yeah.
of Jeff's Bagel Run,
We got him.
Jeff Pereira. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me in today.
Thank you for being here, man. We appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Jeff, you have an awesome story, and I love entrepreneurial stories. I love that you're a UCF guy. And
I mean, the reason we have a segment called Weird Job Wednesday is truly because I think one of the things that you and I do share is because we are a small business. We have a complete obsession with other small businesses.
Yeah.
We like talking to other small business owners. In fact, we're not really fun to go out with other small business owners because we'll sit with them and then just talk about their business. And they're
Yeah.
"Shut
No, I
up."
know, yeah.
So this environment is certainly better to be able to do that. But yeah, thanks for being here, man.
Absolutely.
So, Jeff, tell us how Jeff's Bagel Run started for all the listeners that don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. In 2019, I lost my job.
Okay.
I was working in a corporate gig, and my wife, Danielle, was a stay-at-home mom. She had been home for about 2 years with our daughter, and then we had another baby. And after I lost my job, I called her up, and I said, hey, guess what happened today?
Yeah, all right, so yeah.
Oh,
And,
my God.
And 2019, best time to lose your job. It's like nothing is going to happen right after this.
What's coming next?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I lost my job, and subsequently, she actually was being recruited back. She was ready to go back into the workforce, so she was being recruited back, and she was just like, we got this, don't worry.
Okay.
So she actually landed the job first.
God, how are women like that? My wife's like that.
It's,
Like, I'm freaking out. She's like, "What's fine? Everything is good." You
Calm
do that.
down.
I get
She is the calm. She
Yeah.
is the calm. And so when we had this overlap, we were driving from our house in Winter Garden all the way out to Winter Park to get bagels, and she's like, this is crazy. Is there anywhere I want to... And we're pretty new to the area. We had left. We were here, and then we left, and we came back. So
Okay.
anyway, we're like, we need a bagel. And she's like, why don't you make me one? Now, I'd never baked anything from scratch before in my life. I was always box brownies, cut and break cookies.
And she wasn't saying
Yeah.
that in a negative way, right?
No,
Because
no.
My wife's like, "Why don't you make me one?" You know, would you make me one?
She was
Yeah.
looking out for my mental health. She thought I was going to lose my mind being a stay-at-home dad, and so she was like, do something with your time.
Right on.
It's a hobby. You'll figure it out. And Well, it became an obsession. I was like, I need to get this right. And bagels are her favorite food. So you have to understand when she's like, make me a bagel, I'm like, I'll do it. Absolutely. I love you. I love my wife. I'll make you a bagel.
Man.
Yeah. If someone said make me a bagel, I'm like, all right, I'll drive to the store, I'll buy bagels.
And I'll put cream cheese on it.
Yeah. Like, I don't. What do you from scratch? I don't even know how to do that.
From scratch. So I like got on YouTube, started buying cookbooks, started looking at recipes, just trying to figure it out. Lots and lots of practice, lots of bad bagels. I mean,
Okay.
Lots and lots of bad bagels.
So can you explain real quick the process of making a bagel from scratch?
Sure. It's 5 simple ingredients: flour, salt, water, malt, and yeast.
Okay.
And you mix them all together. You proof them overnight. So, dough goes through that moment where it rises.
Yeah.
That infuses flavor. The yeast starts doing its thing. The bakery science starts to happen inside. And the next thing you know, poof, you've got bread, right? And so the bagels, though, you just form them into the little round discs. And then you put them in the fridge overnight. Next morning you boil and bake them, and they're delicious. So
Okay.
I think it's the boiling that I don't think people truly understand.
100%.
They like hear it. I know I've heard a couple people do like, this is one of your famous jokes, like with when people hear vegetarian chili, they're like, it's like, why are you saying ooh? It's vegetables in a pie.
They don't understand the
we-
boil. They're like,
boil.
boil.
It's like, well, I don't understand that. So can you tell us a little bit about that and
absolutely.
what it does?
Boiling bread is very unusual. You're 100% right. Most people are surprised by that. But when you start that process by the baking process in that boil, so the bagels drop into the water, the outside kind of starts to create that crust. It's just like soft, pliable crust. It's not hard like a baked good, but it starts to bake essentially, or starts to cook. And so that par cooking in the water helps to create a thick crust. Once you get that bagel into the oven and the dough starts to expand, it has nowhere to go because that crust is already formed. And so the gluten, the sugar, all the stuff inside starts bouncing around in there and has nowhere to go. So if you think like a French baguette has like the slits on top, and those slits on top let air out, and you open that baguette up and it's got holes inside of the bread. It looks, it's airy, it's light. You want to dip it in olive oil. Bagels, you break them open and it's like you can pull the dough out of the middle. You can make little balls. You can throw them at your friends. Like that stuff is tough, and so it happens that way because of that forming of the crust through the boiling process.
Well, my daughter happens to think that you're like Elvis Presley in Orlando. Like seriously, like you're like the guy. She was very upset that she didn't get to skip school today to come and meet you. She also wanted me to ask you, how do you get the bagel though in the center, that pillowy chewiness? Because the first thing we do, and I know this is kind of gross, the Dennis's, but when we go to Jeff's Bagel Run, we immediately grab a bagel, we open it up, and then we start touching the pillowiness. And we're like, and we go, oh, and then we do, it's kind of gross. It is, with our hands. We don't like, but we're touching them, and we're like, oh, they're so pillowy. And Maisie will be like, oh, they're pillowy, more pillowy than they've ever been. Like, she's like, these are the most pillowy. And we're just like mushing. What is, like, how do you get them like nice and soft like that?
I wish I had the answer.
Trial and practice.
Trial and error. Like, I had never baked anything in my life, so I made a lot of bad bagels. And when I finally landed on the recipe that you have in the stores today, I gave it to Danielle. I said, I think this is the bagel. This is the one. She's like, I've heard this before. This is not it. She came back. The overlap was over. She was working. It's months later.
Yeah.
She eats that bagel for the first time, and like, she closes her eyes. She's like, I'm in my mom's station wagon. Like, I'm on Long Island. This is the bagel. This is the one. This is the flavor, the texture. This is everything I remember.
Because you're shooting for Bagel Mecca, right? Like you're shooting for New York bagel.
100%. Like, and it's a lot of people are like, well, it's not the water. You don't have New York this and blah 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 blah. And you don't put the cream cheese on, or you won't do. It's about a flavor profile. It's about that, and it really comes down. I think the secret ingredient really is the malt. The malt is the trick to making a delicious bagel have that like authentic New York style taste. Montreal style bagels, they use honey, so it's a slightly different process. They're a little bit sweeter.
Okay.
And so they have that like sweetness on the outside, less of a savory, earthy flavor.
Montreal style.
So this is what I'm super curious
Never
about.
heard that before, Montreal style. Learning today.
Is when you finally find the right recipe and your wife's like, this is it, you found it, and then you're like, okay, how does that then transition into a business? Because for most people, they're like, oh, I figured out my own personal recipe and we'll be making these delicious bagels for life for myself and my family. And that's it. But they don't go further. Like, I need to sell these.
So I just kept making them. First of all, you have to understand, bagels are her kryptonite. So when they're on the counter, she's gonna eat it. It's like a candy jar in an office. People walk by, and she's gonna grab a bagel, and she's like, "Listen, I gotta fit in my work clothes. You gotta stop making these." And I was like, I kind of like making them. I want to keep doing it. We want to have some in the house. I'm making 3-4 dozen at a time in the house. It's a lot of bagels.
Okay,
That's a lot of bagels.
It's a lot of bagels.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, why don't we give them to my friends? And so like her mom group that she was in, they start getting the bagels, and then some of these families were like, we'd buy these from you.
Dude,
like,
mom groups are the way into everything.
Yeah, oh,
They
yeah.
are
You
the-
can get into a mom group, you
They
can
are
be a
the key.
billionaire.
God,
Yeah.
write this down. We need to get in the mom group. So
hate
let's
us.
do
Yeah,
some
mom
mom
group- yeah,
content.
I've looked at that.
I know moms.
Moms hate us.
I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm going to do a mom podcast. My wife's like, no one's going to listen. No moms are going to listen to your opinion on anything.
Two
You're
dads
an
on
idiot.
mommy.
So the
moms are the key.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so they were the unlock, and there's these families were like, we'd buy these bagels from you. And I was like, no, you wouldn't. I'm like a stay-at-home dad. You're not going to come to my house and buy bagels. I've never baked anything in my life. They're like, no. They're like, no, we really would. So we took some time to think about it. We figured out like what rules we needed to have in place to bake from home, all the things. And then once we figured it out, we just decided, let's go for it. We posted a menu on Facebook and Instagram, and I got like 3 orders.
Okay, so
that was it.
Yeah.
So now what timeline are we looking at?
This is now November of 2019. So I'd been baking bagels. I baked my first bagels on like September 25th. Of 2019, so it was a few months.
So November 2019, you find your recipe. You start selling small amounts just to
Friends
and
and
family,
yeah.
mom, your wife's mom group, and you're like, oh, okay, this goes. And you're like, all right, 2020. Maybe we'll get bigger. No. Like, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
It's a new year.
Oh man.
I mean, I got the whole
It is
world
giving me
in
a
front
little
of me.
anxiety.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, for a lot of people, that was a terrible time, right? Like we
Yeah,
know
of
that was
course.
tough. But for our little small business that was starting up, it was like everybody's doom scrolling, and so they're like, "Oh, this guy's making bagels at his house. I love bagels. Let me hit him up." I get a DM. Next thing I know, I get another DM. Next thing I know, it's another and another and another. And before you know it, I've got like 200 messages in my inbox every time I post a menu, and
Good
I can't
God.
fulfill orders. And it came. I mean, it was bagels, yes, but it was also like me knocking on someone's door, dropping a bag of bagels, and standing on the sidewalk saying like, "Hey, have a great day." And they're like, "Oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen anybody in like a week and a half."
Right, right.
And so like it really became community, and it became like a social interaction for people. And then they
And
were
this
like,
is kind of where the name comes from, right?
Just
Like,
Bagel Run.
Yeah,
100%.
because
you were
he was-
delivering the bagels to delivering
Correct.
all the orders,
Yeah,
and
I love that.
And so then
I also love that the mascot looks like he's running for his life. Because I'm coming. 'cause
He's terrified. I'm hungry. I'm
I'm
gonna eat
literally
you.
coming after him with my daughter. We're going to eat the mascot.
100%.
I've always been a fan of barbecue restaurants where they have a pig with sunglasses and he's dancing in the fires, like
My
'cause-
sister has a rule that barbecue restaurant's not good if it doesn't have a pig in the mascot.
Yeah, and I feel
It's
the
just
same
not.
for bagels. The bagel needs to look like he's running from you. He's so delicious that you're going to get him.
So was the name different before you started delivering them, or was it always
No,
like,
it was just always Jeff's Bagel Run. I mean, think
Okay.
about if you think back to college, you did a beer run. As we
Yeah.
got older,
Yeah.
and we, Saturday mornings we're waking up, and even when we were living in South Florida, different places we've lived, it's like, let's go on a bagel run. We'll run to the bagel shop, we get our bagels, we come back. And so there was always like a bagel run culture within our house, and then we just started bringing it to people during COVID.
I love that.
Yeah.
So when was I guess the time where you said like, hey, we need to make this bigger, we need to turn this into a store?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
what was
the hand mixed spreads, the coffee,
For sure.
There's so many components to it, because you look at it and it is very simple, and that's why I think I love about your product is that the no toasting, the whole I like that it's a bagel, you cream cheese, great coffee, good service.
Simple.
Yeah.
You do an unbelievable job making bagels, and the spreads are fresh ingredients.
But it's
and
a lot of
good
spreads, and it looks
local
like
coffee.
a lot of work, and it's all done in house. So
Well, we'll get to the business model
Yeah.
because it's technically a bakery, which is brilliant, by the way.
that is-
When I heard that, I was like, "Oh yeah, that
blew
that
my
is
mind.
awesome." So then, what's your first store?
Yeah.
How's that work?
So we opened our first store in July of 2021. But if I rewind earlier that year, that February, we started doing some markets. The world was opening up, and so we started doing these markets. They were local, kind of in Summerport in our neighborhood over there in
Nice.
Winter Garden. And Mark got canceled, and the event producer, director, whatever, she was like, "We can't do the event. We don't have the insurance. Whatever. Like, we're gonna have to cancel." I was like, "Listen, why don't we just try to move the event, find a new spot?" She's like, "We can't move it." I'm like, "Trust me, if we move it, people will come. Let's figure it out." We found the new spot. Happened to be in my neighborhood that I lived in. We did it at our clubhouse in the parking lot, and it poured rain.
okay,
I mean, poured rain. This is February of 2021.
Gotcha.
Poured rain. everybody's packing up except our line. The people in line for the bagels didn't leave. They just didn't get out of line. They just got soaking wet.
They're standing in the rain, like, give me my bagel.
And I'm talking like Florida thunderstorm,
Yeah.
fronts coming through, sideways rain. We're in a puddle. We're soaking wet. We're protecting the bagels with tarps. People are coming up to us and buying 6 bagels because we would only sell people 6 bagels because we didn't have enough to fulfill all the orders. So it was like they would buy 6 bagels from us in the rain.
I'm the honey guy with the. I'm saying, I'm with the bagel guy. It's got all
Nobody's buying my mustache wax. You know?
The bagel guy's got it.
They all packed up and left.
Yeah.
We were sitting there selling bagels for about an hour in the rain. We got home and Danielle and I looked at each other like, look, we have a business. Like this is like people don't stand in the rain for anything. Like they're standing.
I'm not
going to
eat a pickle in the rain, but I'll eat a bagel in the rain. I will eat a warm bagel in the rain. In fact, I think my daughter and I have stood in the rain at the location near the Subway in the Pizza Hut. Where's that?
College Park.
College Park, yeah. We have stood around that because, the line.
That corner.
Yeah, before we got the one in Winter Park.
So at our house, we had like 5 refrigerators in the garage. We were like, because you had to refrigerate the bagels overnight, so we had them like stacked up on like beer cans. It was a mess, and like we've got to make this more legitimate. How do we get this into like a business? So we started looking for space. And we found a place, we put a lease offer in, didn't get it. Found another place, put a lease offer in, didn't get it. And we finally got a lease deal done in Ocoee. That's where our first location was.
How nervous were you guys? And I know you see the evidence of the people love your product and stuff, but then I'm sure everybody has doubts in the back of their mind. They're like, what if this is what if I'm wrong? I go and invest all this time and money into opening up a shop, and then they just
also
get tired of it.
I don't know what the world thinks of bagels. I know what I do, because my family loves them, but I don't know if people are like anti-bagel or carbs. I don't know where we are, but I do know I love bagels. Like, how do you weigh that anxiety?
I mean, it's terrifying because here you are, have this stable job with an income coming in, you have bills to pay, a mortgage, all this stuff, and Danielle's like, we'll just find a spot, and like I think if we find the right rent, we can make the numbers work. And you can just do the same thing you're doing. We'll just maybe hire you a helper, and it won't be in our house anymore. That'd be awesome if it wasn't in our house, and like people will just come pick up the bagels from you at this like location. And so we start doing that. Meanwhile, like her job's getting like just worse and worse and worse, and like it's just really hard for her. And so she's like, I hate my job. What do I do? And I'm like, quit. Let's go full bagel. Just quit.
That's how I feel right now.
Quit.
I hate my job.
It's just
being here right now.
It's just because you're hungry right now. I'm making you hungry.
I'm the guy home. I wish I made bagels.
I know it's there, daydreaming.
I don't even know what we're giving people. We're definitely not giving them delicious bagels.
Tom looks over. I'm wearing a chef hat.
We just gave him Ben Franklin. I don't even know if they want that.
I don't think they wanted that. In fact, the one guy in the chat room said, I like Ross without the characters.
So you open up your first store, and then is there a time where you're like, well, if people better come the first week? Are you just promoting yourself through social media at this point? Is there any other
it's
marketing?
only social media, mostly Facebook, Instagram at this point.
Okay.
Danielle we end up selling her house. She quits her job. Like we go all in.
Okay, so it's full. You're full invested.
We are fully invested.
Full bagel.
We're all in.
I read that from the website.
Yeah,
they went full
Danielle
bagel.
goes full bagel.
Yeah.
She and she's really like. She helped a ton from the house because, during those COVID times, and she was furloughed from her job, she was helping with the operations. She really is the one who makes the bagel run. I say that all the time. Without her, there's no bagel run. There's what it is today wouldn't exist because I don't have that. Like, I don't have those talents or skills. I'm a much more creative person.
Danielle's bagel run.
Yeah.
She didn't want anything. She didn't want her name on it. She's like, no.
Gotcha.
So
you're the face. You're the guy.
I'm the face. I'm the mascot.
That's cool, though. That is cool.
So.
I think you need that in any business where it's two people that do and excel in two different areas.
Like I'm the face of this show, and you're the.
I'm behind the scenes. No, I like my place.
Me
anyway,
too.
Then you have your first store, and this is where I'm curious about where the expansion and the rapid expansion of your business. How does it go from there? First store, because a lot of people would never leave the first store, and they're like, "Oh, this is my store," and this is
There's a certain comfortability once you get it there, and it's seemingly successful,
and it's going well, and things are great, and you're paying your bills, and you're making money, and you're happy, and those are all very true.
You're like, I won. This is the
I'm doing. Yes, exactly. I've won. I hit the jackpot. I'm doing what I want to do,
and you enjoy it,
and you like it. It was great. It was rewarding. It was fun. People coming in. You got customers that and then another baker in town called me up. probably January of 22, February 22. He said, listen, I'm closing my shop. Wondering if you might be interested in buying it. This was our College Park location. And so I was immediately yes. Danielle's like, no way. We can barely run one shop. What are you thinking? This is crazy. And then so finally she's like, let's do it. We buy a second shop. This expands our ability to get more bagels out into the world.
Gotcha.
And that was store number 2. And store number 2 was hard. Like, I mean, hard.
That's what
I think store number 2 is what stops people from doing.
So store number 3. And you usually go back to 1 and be like, no more 2 stores.
Yeah. Well,
we've seen it multiple times.
We can talk about our buddy. I mean, Porky's and Steve White, one of our favorite barbecue guys of all time. We still love that guy and his family. They've always done us right. We love them. But he would tell us, he'd be like, he would do the expansion and do a second store, and he'd be like, oh my God.
He told us, he's like, store number 2 almost killed me.
Yeah.
He's like, because
literally had a heart attack.
I'd go to store number 2 and then to get there and be like, oh, and then you spend your time there, and then store number 1 starts, not suffering.
Help.
You're just bouncing back and forth, and then and a lot of people are like, well, this is not what I wanted. So how'd you push past that?
So I mean, it was very difficult, and I felt that same way too. I mean, Danielle and I's relationship was strained. It was hard. I was running one store, she was running the other. It was difficult.
Ooh.
It was not good. But one person kept coming into the shop in College Park. His name is Min. He worked at an office over by Mall of Millennia. He's like, the office loves these bagels. You really should meet my boss one day. I don't know. You guys maybe can do something. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Great, thanks, whatever. He'd come in the next day. He's like, but seriously, we're buying more bagels. Let's go. This guy Min kept pushing. And he's like, let's get a meeting with my boss. And finally, he's like, listen, my boss is the former founder of You Break, I Fix. We would love to talk to you about expanding your business. And Danielle's like, I don't know. I don't think so. I'm like, I know. I don't know. We don't really want to do that. 2 was hard. Can't imagine what more would be like, right? So,
I told you, this bagel shop's not for sale. I've always wanted to say that to somebody. Even with the fake New York accent. Like, somebody walks in, I'm like, I told you, this podcast, it's not for sale.
Yeah. For me, I'd be surprised if someone wanted to buy this podcast. I'd be like, what? You want to buy this? Anything. We'll take anything.
We'll take $1.
And so then,
So we take a meeting.
Okay.
We
take the meeting.
We take a meeting. It's January. We take the meeting. We start talking to him, and he's just a normal dude who created a business in his bedroom when he was at college, and that was like, here's somebody who created something from nothing, and he's like, you guys created something from nothing. It's pretty cool. Why don't we work together? And so we started working together. And a year and a half later, we've opened 9 stores, with number 10 opening next month.
Hey!
Wow.
That's incredible. Man, congratulations.
So
that's killer.
With
Thank
that
you.
partnership, he was able to show you the most efficient way to open up other stores without, a lot of that knowledge, like, you can't just look it up on Google.
It's hard.
It's like every business is different, and I'm sure, but there is, like, a way to do it, and people that have been through it can guide you through it 100%. A lot easier.
Oh, for sure. He had a team of people that were working in his office already. He's a designer. He's got an attorney. He's got all these people that know how to do things and get things done. Yeah, the infrastructure was there. He also had this experience of building a business and growing it, and he had the mistakes made already, right? So he hit the speed bumps. He hit the hurdles, and so we were the most sophisticated 2-shop bagel company in the world for 18 months, because we had this giant supply chain, we had technology, we had all these things that most people wouldn't have until they're 10, 12, 15, 30 stores deep. And we got a team of 20 people at a corporate office with 2 stores. It's silly, right? But it paid off, because now we can move a lot faster.
Well, it's like preparation, right?
100%.
You guys did the back end first.
We laid the tracks, and then we're now we're just on the train going. 100%.
I mean, most people wait and then have to I see a lot of similarities, even in what we did when we were building out our business behind the scenes. We were still working our day jobs, so I get it. It also gives me anxiety because for some weird reason I live it again. When I hear somebody tell the tale. You also made the entire chat room super hungry, so we are selling.
Go by Jeff's Bagel right there.
Let's go, folks. Yeah.
Hashtag TD Bagel.
When did you decide to add? Was there ever a decision? When did you decide to add all the different types of specialty cream cheese? Because that really does set you apart. That banana pudding cream cheese.
My son was talking about this morning.
Yeah, it is. You don't. I hate to even say this, but you don't even need a bagel with that. You were just started
Yeah.
spooning it, and then I caught Maisie eating it with Nilla wafers.
Nilla wafers.
Yeah.
Nilla wafers in the move.
The mini
100%.
Nilla wafers, and she's just eating it. I'm like, baby, like she's eating it. It's like the best dance snack in the world. She just took like, we had a little
love it.
leftover Jeff's, and then she took a bag of Nilla wafers to dance. I'm like, all right, that's
Perfect.
not bad. That's not a bad snack.
So let's talk about the all the different types of bagels, the spreads that
Yeah,
you guys
sure. It's a
offer,
lot.
and the fact that you don't overcomplicate. You know, there's certain things that you do, brilliant by the way, that I'm super impressed by. But what caused you to go that direction? Was it over time you realized like this works, this doesn't?
You know, when we moved into our first shop, it's like the simpler the better for us because it
Okay.
was Danielle and I. We were the only employees. I was baking every day, and then she was running the front of the house and doing like the counter service and handing people bagels. Like we didn't even slice your bagel then. We had one cream cheese plain. That was it. You know,
Okay.
it was like very, very simple. And then people were like, oh, maybe you should get like a scallion or a chive or something. And we're like, oh, we could try that. And so we started little bits and pieces, trying different things. And we hired one person, then we hired another. And so we got a little bit more efficient. We became more productive, and that helped us expand a little bit. The bagel flavors, we always had like a standard 13 or 14 flavors, but the interesting thing was we had this bagel of the day. So it was this new flavor that we'd introduce every day. And for a long time, it was just blueberry or jalapeno cheddar. That was it. Because I was the only person making the dough, you know, and like making all these different doughs just seemed like I couldn't do it. You know, I was already coming in 3 o'clock in the morning baking bagels. I'm not staying till 4 or 5 o'clock in the night, rolling dough. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. So we had jalapeno and blueberry, and the jalapeno and blueberry just ended up becoming regular flavors that we always had, and other stuff came in. So we made like a French toast bagel, or we like recently just did a tomato grilled cheese bagel, which is like the sun-dried tomato dough with salt and cheddar cheese on top. And when you take that bite, it tastes just like you dipped your grilled cheese sandwich in tomato soup. And then it's fun to be creative and be thinking about new ways to make a bagel taste like something else.
And your spreads, like there are real chives and real
100%.
Fruits and vegetables in the spread, which is
like the veggie one, Andrea
just so
loves.
high quality.
And
that,
the hot sauce cream cheese is my family will eat so much hot sauce cream cheese. And Andrea likes to take the vegetable and mix it with the hot sauce cream cheese, and that cream cheese has Jason's mom's
hot sauce. Yeah,
we love that sauce.
Another local
delicious.
guy.
Yeah.
And your coffee is.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Coffee is fantastic. So coffee is roasted here in Central Florida Winter Garden by Otis Coffee.
Yep. I love this, by the way, too, where you just basically locally sourced.
We were neighbors.
Okay.
Glenn and Jacqueline own Otis Coffee. They were the founders of the company. They lived 3 doors down, an actual 3 doors down from our house on the same street on Mangrove Cove. And
that's a breakfast block right there.
She's walking their son Carson in the stroller, and she's like on Google Maps, just like looking around. She sees this little like pin for Jeff's Bagel Run, like in a house. She's like, "What's Jeff's Bagel Run?" So she clicks on it. She drills down, and she's like, "Glenn, you should check out this guy. He's doing coffee or bagels. Like, you know, bagels and coffee go great together. Why don't you?" So he hits me up on DM. He's like, "Hey, we should like talk about our side hustles we got going on over here." He's like, "I do coffee." He's like, "You do bagels." And so we met at the playground. The kids played. Next thing you know, we're like, you know, best friends.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's where modern day business deals are done, at the playground.
100%. Yeah.
Used to be at the bar, some smoky bar, now it's at the playground. Because of,
got a Stanley and your 3 kids running around.
So let's talk about the expansion, because you guys are in different states now.
Yeah, we opened in North Carolina last month.
Yeah, I told my relatives that's my people are Carolina people. So
how crazy was that for you? Because like we're not talking about the stuff that happened the early 2000s. Like this is a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
quick,
and so when you see Jeff's Bagel Run in North Carolina, does it blow your mind? You're like, oh my, I can't believe.
It's surreal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I said, like 4 years ago, we were doing this out of our house, like my home kitchen. And so to have a store in North Carolina, to have other people interested in running our business and wanting to be a part of it it's mind blowing. It's very surreal. It's like pinch yourself every day, kind of figure out, is this real?
I always like having people in here when they say 4 years ago I was doing this out of my house, and then I think back and I'm like, 20 years ago we were doing this out of my house. I'm like, hold on a second.
Well, there was a time 4 years ago we did it.
20 years ago we were doing this out of my house.
Well, we can't franchise this because there's only me and you. If we can get someone exactly the same as us, they can put them everywhere.
AI is trying.
AI. Anyway, but so now what's your future? What's your goals? Because there are 8 Central Florida locations, correct? And locations out of state, locations locations opening up southern Florida, and so is there like a cap to this? Is that, because
Oh,
it
you mean
seems
like a or is the sky's the limit? Just
Yeah.
take it as big as you can make it.
because I did hear that when you open your North Carolina location, there's a line out the door like
Like 4 hours long.
Oh, you can see the
local-
photos. There's photos of it online.
which is obvious that there's a market that wasn't being filled in this area, that people were like, oh, this is awesome bagel, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so this is obviously something that no one's doing out there, and you know, there's so many different places you could open. It seems like there could be hundreds of stores in the future.
For sure, no, and you know, I think we don't have a top end goal. You know, we're just like, it's like one day at a time, moving forward, and we are franchising. So the model is to franchise, which helps us expand a little quicker because it's, you know, other people's money, right? So they're taking the risk as the owner, but that also gives them a ton of, like, there's skin in the game. So they're going to be more committed to making sure that it works. And, like, you know, it's hard. Like, running 8 corporate stores in Central Florida is hard.
Yeah,
Gotta
oh
be.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is so hard because you're trying to balance this, like, feeling of, like, this is at, you know, your local bagel shop, but it's also, like, you know, like eight stores is a big company.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
big.
and it's like, it feels big and it's hard to, like, get your arms around it. But when you're like a one store owner and you're franchising in Wake Forest or Raleigh, or you're going to be in South Florida, you know, you have this, like, this is mine. And then that same feeling that we, you know, Danielle and I have, and say this is ours, other people are now taking that and saying this is ours, which feels really good.
I love the franchise thing back in the day. Like when I was growing up, like I had a lot of friends whose parents were franchisees.
Yes, yeah.
That
My neighbor
were rich. I mean, they did well, but then somewhere along the line, I'm sure with all businesses, you know, things get messed up or what. But like I remember, like I had a friend that I had one friend that did Bally, like the health club.
The fitness,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that a
I mean,
franchise?
just stinking rich. Oh, yeah, it was a franchise. And then I had another guy that did Kentucky Fried Chickens, I think, at the time.
My neighbor did 7-Elevens, had like
Oh,
3
man, that's the
7-Elevens.
one.
Yeah,
That's the one.
And then he moved to where Dan Marino lives.
Oh, man, he's got a big sculpture of a bagel in his front yard. There's a big gold
I
bagel.
remember he had the first Laserdisc, and we were watching Running Man on Laserdisc, and we're like, oh my God,
It'll
this is
never
the
be
future.
better than this.
That's amazing.
So let's talk, because me and Daniel, honestly, when we, like,
Oh, you're going to tell him this?
we're a huge fan
It's
of
a
Jeff
private
Bakery.
conversation.
We were like, we should buy a Jeff
We
Bakery
did. We said that.
at the location.
We're like,
and
we're
open
going to
it up.
buy one. I'm like, Stetson University in DeLand.
Let's go.
We're going to feed the kids.
And because I'm
Feed
like,
the Hatters.
because then, like, going into some of the business part of it, you guys are licensed as a bakery.
Correct.
So then there's, you know, it's just it seems like a great franchise to own because you're licensed as a bakery.
We keep it
there's less-
simple.
yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just simple.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it's coffee, cream cheese, bagels, right? And like, that's a very simple process. You know, you're not frying chicken, you're not doing all these other things. The bakery licensing is it's a limitation, really. I mean, like, we can't make your sandwich. We can't prepare food for you. I can't do anything besides bake a bagel. I can slice it. Just like if you go to your Publix deli or your Publix bakery and she's like, hey, can you want your French loaf sliced or whatever? And they'll slice your bread for you, but they're not going to make your sandwich. You know, the deli does that. That's a different. So we work
it's
as
a different area.
We operate as a retail bakery. It does limit some of the things that we can do in the store, but it also makes it a lot easier to operate. And so you have this ease of operation. You have a lot less stuff that you have to do. You know, you're still food safe. You're still licensed with, the health department. You have all these same regulations and rules. You're just not doing as many things. So it does make it a little bit more profitable because you're not buying all this extra stuff and trying to figure out how to make payroll and how all these things work. But, you know, you run it with less people. You have the opportunity to keep the product clean and simple and easy for your customers to understand.
And it makes it probably easier because of the franchise to standardize like the product.
1000%. Yeah.
Everybody can do the same product. You get the bagel you're getting in North Carolina is going to be the exact same.
Well, that's
as you
important,
get in
though. I mean,
College
probably,
Park.
I'm sure to you, the
100%.
integrity of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
creation. I mean, how many bad bagels did you bake to preserve that one great tasting recipe that you now have? I mean,
That was the biggest challenge of scaling is how do you get
right.
that recipe to be the same in every store? And, I mean, bakeries have been doing this for years. There's co-packers that will put ingredients together that are portioned perfectly for you. So there's no mistakes. You don't have someone who's over measuring one ingredient and under measuring something else, and so all that stuff is very easy for the store teams to execute. They put their little ingredient, pack it in, add the flour, add the water, done.
Boom.
Now, before we even started the show, Jeff was showing us his custom bagel shoes.
Yeah, bagel shoes.
And
these are amazing.
we
won't make it like have to show them, like make him do calisthenics.
I don't have an OnlyFans, so no.
Sesame seed.
Sesame
dunks.
seed.
My sesame dunks.
Bagel dunks. Yeah, these are amazing.
And so that got me thinking about: have you been introduced with other big bagel? Is there other because I'm sure that you shook up the bagel world.
You did.
And then so other people are like, who's this Jeff? What is he doing?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, this guy Jeff's making some waves in the bagel world.
Yeah.
And so have you had to deal with like any sort of
you wake
big
up, find some
business
cream cheese on your doorstep or something. You know,
I haven't woken up to like a bagel head on my bed. Hasn't happened.
Whatever, cinnamon raisin in his bed.
What happened there? I think we are disrupting a little bit. Most bagel shops today, it seems silly to like, most disruptions is about streamlining, making it more efficient, making it easier. We've kind of done the opposite of that. A lot of bagel shops that you go to today are a frozen product that comes in that's like just reheated in the store. They toast it up, make a sandwich, do something, maybe serve it to you in a bag, whatever. We're like going backwards. We're like, let's make it from scratch. Let's do it the hard way, the old-fashioned way in the store, but that's going to make it better, tastier, fresher product. Like, we're really invested in that.
I've never got one not warm in the bag.
There's always going to be at least one warm one, for sure.
I've never not gotten warm bagel. Like, I mean, I'm sure you can get, bagels that are still fresh, but they're not piping hot. But I always get warm ones.
But it's also the brilliance of what you're doing is like, hey, we're making an insanely good bagel and spread. And that's and we have good coffee, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we're not doing something where like you want something, you want to have a steak on this? You're like, steak. I mean, you're cooking steak back there.
Some people hate this.
It's like, why are you on? It's too much.
Well, some people hate this, but it's like the Cheesecake Factory, right? It's like the Gordon Ramsay used to always yell about like your menu's so big. He's like, God, what do you do? Yeah, I mean. I don't know if even you and I could handle bagel spread and coffee. We can handle bagels and spread. You know what I mean? Like three things really, really good is still very hard to do.
It is, and
especially with sprinkle and then what's the one with salt and then Asiago and then
the
Abbey?
onion. Oh, the Abbey.
The Abbey.
The Abbey.
Have you had the Abbey? That's
the Abbey is a salt, onion, and Asiago cheese bagel. I used to make it at home. My oldest daughter loved it, and then she went off to college. She'd visit us in the shop, and she's like, "Hey, we make that bagel I used to make at home." And so I'd make it for her, and then my team was like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" And I'm like, "Oh, I made this bagel." And then they started asking me to make the Abbey bagel. And so customers are, of course, like watching the team eat this bagel. They're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a salt, onion, Asiago bagel. Like, that'd be really good. Can we make that?" And so it got into the bagel of the day rotation. And now it's like probably like the second, maybe first most popular bagel of the day.
It's a deadly bagel.
It's
a really
It's like
good
French onion
bagel.
soup in a bagel.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That
it's so
bagel, I get that with hot sauce because I'm always
so
with
good.
the hot sauce cream cheese. And then now I get this is the boringest thing I order, but plain with banana. Plain with the banana pudding.
The banana pudding is Danielle's recipe too. It's so good.
God, the banana pudding cream cheese is ridiculous. Frosted cake with it.
If I'm imagining if I had Tom's bagel run and then my kids were like, make me a bagel, I'm like, go to the store. Down the street, there's 8 locations. So do you still make bagels at home?
We do not make them at home.
Okay.
You gotta get it out of the house.
No more bagels at home. It all takes place in the shops. And then we'll just,
There you go.
we just like this morning I DoorDashed some to the house because
That's I knew it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Jeff, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's been so
Thank you
much fun.
Should I apologize to him now for the song? Should I do it?
Okay.
Did you like the song?
The song was awesome.
Okay, I thought it was too aggressive. Hold on, I'll play a little bit.
Play a little bit, yeah.
Okay, I'll play a little bit.
So good.
Always spoiled, never toasted. Just bagel one, they got
The most, kid.
Just bagel one, you gotta get you some. Just bagel one is the best. Yo, what's the bagel of the day?
Yeah, right. Like, what's the bagel?
It's
Too
good.
much. It's too much.
It is a little aggressive.
It's a little aggressive. So I did another one for you because I didn't feel. Okay. Do you like yacht rock at all?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just going. Okay, I did this one is like more of like a yacht rock style. I thought you would like this one maybe better. This one's groovier.
This got a little.
And this is like more of, I think, a Jeff's vibe.
Yeah.
Instead of the other one, which was very aggressive
Oh,
and like
yeah.
almost gangster rap.
This is like front of house. The other one was back of house.
Correct.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Start your morning
Oh yeah.
off with fun. We're down at Jeff's Bagel Run.
I love this.
Bagel
So good.
coffee and cream cheese.
Oh yeah.
Have another if you please. It's a smooth bagel morning. Welcome to some. It's a smooth bagel morning. Jeff's Bagel Run.
I need the music video.
Yeah, that one's
We
good.
need the music video for this.
This one's like 70s, early 80s yacht rock. You're out on the
That's good.
yacht. You've only got 3 things on your boat. You've got shrimp cocktail, white wine, and Jeff's bagels.
So that's good.
That's all you
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
And
That's
you're
all you need.
sailing out to You're sailing out to meet Christopher Cross for some bagels. All right.
That's awesome. Well, Jeff, congratulations on all your success.
Please give Danielle some love from us. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for the
Absolutely.
product. And
Did they ever invite you to UCF to do any speeches for the young entrepreneurs at
Yeah.
UCF?
I think yeah. So last year we talked with yes.
Okay.
There was
Yeah.
a group, the business.
we did that. They
They
asked us to leave.
we did it one time and never talked to us again.
In fact, they
We've
did-
only done it one time as well. If it makes you feel any better, we
We,
won't.
Okay.
we did it, and I think at one point I looked, and we had like 20 minutes left, and the lady was like, "That's our time."
Yeah. We started going into things that were like, this is not what we wanted. Like, you don't know anything about the business?
I'm like,
We just-
yeah,
just
I
make
had put my
jokes, I
leg up
guess.
on a stump. I'm like, let me tell you what's wrong with the government. They're like, uh-oh. Okay. All right,
Well,
let's get out of here.
Thanks, Jeff. Again,
you.
when you go by Jeff's
Yes.
Bagel Run,
Get the app. Use the app.
Yeah,
it shows you like real time what's going on in the store.
Yeah,
so.
your app is great, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
It's way better than we've been told that ours is I can't even say what it is. It's not good though. I'll say it's not good.
but use a hashtag TD Bagel. That lets us know
Yeah, it
that
does.
you went by, and that's important to the relationship. But we're happy to have you guys as a sponsor, and we're super excited to just work with you and obviously talk about an awesome product. Like when I knew you were coming on board, I was like, this is awesome and very easy for us just to tell our audience, like, these are awesome bagels, and they do an awesome job.
Well, as a small business, it's very fun for us to talk about small businesses that actually succeed.
yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
All right, we will see you guys tomorrow.
Awesome. And we're done until after lunch, right?